Starting off the conference is a man who I think embodies what a conference is, which is networking with people, being resilient, and also always thinking and believing things are possible, right? He's the person that traveled around the country, and I don't know what is a beat up Toyota Corolla with a canoe on the back. He went to all these networking conferences, he met people, and he built a bunch of stuff. He built RestrictedInventory.com, built GoToLister, started the Miami Sellers Conference. Now is a co-founder of Books and Beyond. He's somebody who believes in possibilities, which is why you're all here today. So please welcome me and joining up the one and only Avery Romarner all the way up to the stage. Thank you so much.
Someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jack Daniels got a history. There's a party downtown near 5th Street. Everybody at the bar.
All right, I'm going to go over how to make money online. Who here wants to make money online? Say aye. Aye. All right, here's my story, guys. So years ago in college, I was in the library, and I searched how to make money online. When I was in school, I was learning organic chemistry, physics, and I took it upon myself to also learn how to make a little side cash. So what I did was Google how to make money online, and an article came up, 25 ways to make money online. I read everything, affiliate marketing. I was looking at different possibilities, and 25 of those ways made me no money online. And so I then, who here has ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Say aye. Aye. Who here knows this quadrant right here, up in the right-hand corner? Say aye. All right, let me break this down for you guys. This changed my life. So right here, I'm gonna use this little laser pointer. We have employees on the poor dad side and self-employed. Both of my parents were on this side. I was in college to learn how to be a physical therapist, which would then put me $100,000 in debt. And what would I be after all that? An employee. And so I remember thinking I need to be a business owner, which means I need to have other people do work for me, or an investor. Even if I have my own business and I work within it, I'm still self-employed. I started a landscaping company and I had to work within that, and you're a slave to yourself. A lot of times when you build a business, you become a slave to that business. So in my opinion, all of our goals should be to be on the rich dad side, which is a business owner, where the top level is investor. And the moment I read this, college was never the same for me, because I realized even if I get my degree, I'm going to be stuck here, and I have to open up my own physical therapy practice, which then I wouldn't even be using my degree, and I'd still be $100,000 plus in debt. So that really screwed things up. And this was completely unrelated, but it actually turned out to be my first way of making money online, and that was flipping my textbooks. I would take my organic chemistry book to the bookstore that my mom paid $150 for, and they would offer me $10. I didn't accept it. I went on Amazon and I sold it, and I remember one time I sold my organic chemistry book for more than I paid for it. And the way I did it, it was kind of on accident, but I was following this guy here, and he was hammering, you got to sell Amazon FBA. You got to sell Amazon FBA. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is this like an MLM scheme? Like, why does this guy on YouTube want me to sell on Amazon FBA? It just didn't make sense to me, but I was like, screw it. Went to the little free library. Our college had all these free books. I packed every single one up, shipped them to Amazon, didn't scan them. 1 year later, I probably sold about 5% of them, but luckily there's no storage fees, there's no removal fees back then, so I was good. And that was really the start of it. And I got all my friends, all the wrestlers, all the volleyball girls, everybody would bring me their books at the cafeteria, and I'd pay them. At the time, if I sold their book for $100, I'd pay them $50. I didn't know about Amazon fees. I just knew, hey, this told me it sold for $100, I'd Venmo them $50. They'd bring me an offer from Chegg or sell back your book, and they said, they're gonna pay me $15. I said, I'll pay you $25 cash right now. Dumbest thing ever. I was paying them more cash and giving them less hassle, but I learned as time went on. And after I graduated, I tried following my passion. So I started a landscaping company, and I was cutting grass, and I'd make $40 for a yard, and I'd sell a $50 textbook. And I'm like, I just work for $40, I have to split that with my friend, pay for gas, or like in the meantime, I just sold a textbook, and that was so much easier. And then after the landscaping company, I was like, this is too much work. I'm still self-employed. I'm still in quadrant one. I'm gonna try to follow my passion and coach wrestling. So I worked for, who here has ever worked with high school kids? Say aye. Got a few people in here. Super easy to deal with, right? I wrestled with these kids. I woke up 7 a.m., poured my heart into it, and I still actually coach, but this is years later, and I do it for different reasons now. But back then, I was trying to make money and follow my passion. And after 5 months of hard work, I made $1,800. And that's when I was like, this ain't gonna work. So literally, this is right after wrestling season. You can see how excited I am. I told my parents, I'm gonna go live in my car and go to California. And the reason why I did this was like, I read those 25 ways of how to make money online, and it just didn't click in my head. And I'm like, I have to do something so difficult that I'm gonna force myself to make money. And the only thing that ever worked for me was selling used books. So I'm like, I'm gonna go take out the front seat of my car, drive to California. And the way I slept was in Walmart parking lots. And I went into thrift stores, libraries all over the country, and I would pack thousands of books to Amazon FBA. And that's how I started my business. And I didn't know about book sales. I didn't know about all these other places. I didn't know about online arbitrage. I still thought most of that was a scam, but I knew I made money selling books. And so when I was in Arizona, I saw that there was this book selling conference. Turn the page. $200. I couldn't believe somebody would pay $200 to go to a conference. I was like, what? And so I took out my Bank of America travel credit card, put $200 on it, and went to this conference, and it changed my life. I met my mentor, one of my best friends now, Caleb Roth, and he's taught me so much about business. But when I walked in the conference, I showed up an hour late because I went to the address of the invoicing company instead of the actual conference. So when I got there, it's 1 hour late, no seats left, and I get sandwiched between Caleb Roth and a girl from MIT. They pulled out a chair. And I'm sitting there, and both these people have to have an IQ of like 130 plus sitting next to me. And I'm like, I'm doing this shit just to make money, to like not have to ask my dad for Venmo money anymore. And there's people this smart doing this. She flew all the way from Maryland, and he quit his job making 6 figures in the medical field to sell books on Amazon and just pursue this space in general. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's something here. And also, shout out, is Karan here? Back there, Karan was at that event, 19 years old at the time, and he was flipping Nike shoes. And he was doing hundreds of thousands. He was probably making like $5,000. But in my head, he was super rich. Fast forward, he's actually doing millions in book sales each year. And between all these people I met, it just shifted my mentality of, okay, like maybe I'm not going to be a physical therapist. Maybe I could truly make this work. And so I kept telling my parents I was taking a gap year and eventually I go back to school. But instead, I kept going to these conferences. And the next conference I went to was in Vegas here. It was another Turn the Page event. And I heard through the grapevine that this guy right here made $100,000 profit in a month, net, that he paid himself. Where I come from, my family, we make that in a year. And he made that in 1 month. And I was thinking, this guy knows something that I don't know. And we did this little breakout session, and we'll do this later today, where you'll be able to ask all the speakers questions. And Steve had his little breakout session over here, and the bulk book guys were over here. And everybody went to the bulk book guys, nobody went to Steve. So I walked over to Steve, and he's like, what the fuck is this guy asking me so many questions? And I'm like, you made $100,000? Like, how'd you do this? Like, I have a YouTube channel too. I had like 500 subscribers at the time. And he's like, yeah, man, let's shoot some YouTube videos. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And then I'm like, can I get your phone number? He's like, no. So then my strategy here, this is next level networking. I took a picture of a salsa violinist in downtown Nashville, and I tagged Steve Rakin in it. And I said, look at Steve playing that violin. And he replied. And then I was like, yo, bro, we still gonna shoot those videos? And he's like, yeah, man, like just let me know when you're ever in the area. So that night I drove all the way, 11 o'clock at night, I drive to South Carolina for a college that closed down. And I cleared out the whole college, $20K net profit from the books they had, and shipped them all Amazon FBA out of my Toyota Corolla. I didn't even put them in my Corolla. I just put them outside, scheduled UPS pickup, done. Head up to Washington, D.C. after that for another college closeout. And by the way, I'm doing these closeouts because I came to this events like this, and I met people who were doing liquidations. And so that's an example of how you can network with people and learn. This guy was doing $300,000 in sales each month. I was doing like 10. And he took me to the next level, just doing those liquidation deals. But I'm in Washington, D.C., 14 hours away from Steve, and I say, yo, man, I'm in your backyard. If you want to shoot those videos tomorrow, I'll pull up. And he's like, yeah, man, just come through at 11. I come through. We end up being really good friends, and we go to Tony Robbins' event where we do all that corny shit where we jump around, and we hit it off. We stayed at this place right here, and there was an ice bath, sauna. It was so inspiring. And Steve was like, how about we move to Miami and just grind for a year, see what happens? I'm like, okay, roger that. Book a flight to Miami, cancel my lease in Nashville. We lived together on the 48th floor, all the way up here on that corner in Miami. And then COVID happens. So now I'm quarantined with Steve Rakin in this room for 2 months. And of course, we launched a course together, did several $100,000 in sales, and I learned so much about marketing. My business was going great. I systematized everything. I read Work the System. I read all these books about how to systematize your business, never work in your business, work on your business. And then my book business was on autopilot, close to doing $1 million in sales, taking home 200K plus. And then I also took jiu-jitsu as a hobby, and I wrestled my whole life. So I head through this 18-year-old kid, and my rib punctured my lung. So now I'm in the hospital, pissed off. And on the third day, I get a notification my Amazon account is suspended for a counterfeit claim. And then a week before, my wrestling coach passed. So in this moment, I had two desires. One, make it to my wrestling coach's funeral. Two, get my Amazon account back. And I've actually done this talk a few times. I started doing like this presentation. I've modified it 3 years ago. And the lesson I took back then was I need to start over from square one. Amazon restricted me in a category. That's the main category I sell. Therefore, I need to sell something else. And that's what I told myself. And I made it work. And I don't even think that's true anymore. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. But I thought of getting a job at one point. I kept going through account shutdown because Amazon thought I was like an Indian counterfeiter because I sold on multiple accounts on textbooks, and they just kept shutting them down. And I was driving through Nashville, Tennessee one time, and I was like, man, what if I just got a job? Like, what would I do? I've never had a job in my life. I was like, maybe a dog trainer. Maybe I don't know, go to Home Depot, see if they have some people. But it was kind of like a joke in my head. It was like a way to relax and take off all the pressure of trying to sell on Amazon. But I had this dream, I had this vision that I can make Amazon work. I'm the host of Miami Sellers Conference. I saw these kids making millions, like literally stacking millions cash from Amazon. I saw booksellers making so much money. I'm like, I know I can make this work if I just keep grinding. So I did all the work to grow my business. I networked with other sellers. I emailed hundreds of suppliers. I posted on social media. I found new people to partner with to sell on their Amazon accounts, but mainly networked with other sellers. And this year, me and my partners have done over 100,000 net profit in a 30-day period. There's proof. I'll go to Lister right there. And I also have a 7-figure SaaS company, go to Lister. Between these two sources of income, I'll make more than a physician this year. And if you would have told this kid right here that books were, he's pretty excited. He knew something was going to work, but used books, I definitely did not think was going to be the path to making all this money. Now, this is where the modification in the talk comes. So originally, I did this talk saying I got an account shut down. There was no path forward. And then I shifted to selling other products. And I don't regret it. Obviously, doing pretty well. But I think I could have made it work out. And I also think that account shutdowns and restrictions are just part of the game. And I didn't realize it at the time. So everyone in this picture right here has had their account shut down. And I put myself on there twice because I've been through quite a few. But we got Amazon Lit here right now in the community. Last year, we were at Amazon Accelerate up in Seattle. Turns out his account was shut down while we were at the event. We also got World of Books. I'm not putting you on blast, Bill, but they were down for a few days last year. And they do multi-millions. So if you guys had a spike in your sales last year, it was because they were down. Yeah, I had thrift books out there too. Yeah. So my point is, and also, all of these people have made a ton of money on Amazon this year. Okay? So this is part of the game, and this is the jungle we live in. So follow me here. This is kind of what I've been passionate about. I haven't made a YouTube video on it yet, but this is where I've been thinking, and this is the approach I think we should all take selling on Amazon. Feel free to take screenshots of this. I am going to be going over a lot, but really this is an overall mentality that I'm sharing with you guys. So this is what I've noticed. Whether you're selling online arbitrage, wholesale, books, private label, this is part of the dilemma that we deal with. Number one, brand X or publisher or even customer, let's say Steve Rakin gets mad at me and decides to buy a book from me and say it's counterfeit. He could do that. Any brand can do that. They have more weight than Steve Rakin would, but somebody can do a complaint on your account, IP complaint, item not matched description, and then one of these is going to happen. An ASIN level restriction, a brand or category restriction, or worst case, your account gets suspended. Okay? Then this guy comes up and you have to do a virtual interview with him, and he determines your fate. This guy right here. So he interviews you and he says, yes or no, you're good based on X claim. And then you go down like a sinking ship because he doesn't think you're legit. And then the brand celebrates. Publishers celebrate, the brand, the seller, whoever wanted to take you down, they're happy now. Okay, so the biggest lesson here is there's levels to this shit. Know how to play the game. Know what Amazon wants and make it easy for them to say yes. So most sellers get put in a corner. They get put in the corner, they edit invoices, they do something that they think looks legit, and then this guy says you're fucked. That's literally the game we live in. And this is an example of what people do. They freak out, they edit invoices to make them look more legit. They send bad pictures of inventory. Amazon doesn't like at-home setups. So if you've got your couch or your cat in the background, I don't know if it's AI or the Indians, but they do not like that. And they, right now, that's just what's happening in 2025. Maybe in the future it'll change. People spam a bunch of invoices that contradict each other. Oh, let me try this invoice, let me try this invoice, let me try this invoice. And if you do a contradiction that is obviously a lie to Amazon, now you actually did something bad. You know, alibis that contradict each other. They hire account recovery specialists with outdated techniques, and most account recovery specialists suck. Because what worked in 2023 doesn't work in 2025. They don't negotiate properly with the counterfeit claimers. They don't address the claims properly. And they let the claims pile up because they're scared to address. So they're like, all this shit, I don't understand. I'm too scared. They get high risk on their account, all these different notifications, and then they go down. And really, the way I look at Amazon now is you're good until you're not. And the moment they come after you for something, you're under their microscope. It's like the eye of Sauron's looking at you. And this is going to happen for an hour. It might happen for a week. But the moment they look at your account as potentially a bad actor, because remember, they're trying to get as many bad actors out of the game as they can. When it comes to these FTC cases, when it comes to any legal cases, if they can sit in front of a judge and say, no, we actually wiped out 100,000 sellers last year, that looks pretty damn good. And whether or not they're knocking off the right people or not, they don't really care too much as long as they're getting mostly the bad actors and then some innocent people, a lot of innocent people, obviously, are going down. They're happy showing they're vetting their system. And so this guy's responsible for all of it. That's why I put him there. So what's working now is Goodwill, and this is what's working in 2025. And again, this isn't like, I don't necessarily want you guys to take this and make this is like law, because it might change in a month. But I want you guys to start thinking this way. Goodwill receipts and eBay receipts have worked for Section 3s. When Amazon comes after you and they say, hey, show us the inventory is legit, multiple times eBay receipts and Goodwill receipts with matching bank statements have worked. So you can say, I bought these books from Goodwill on this date. Here's a bank statement. Make it look professional. They're happy. Clear pictures of the product. I know we're booksellers. It's a pain to take pictures of all of our books, but in other domains, if you take clear pictures of the product in a warehouse setting, Amazon likes that. Pictures of boxes, product and warehouse setting. Congruency. Again, don't contradict yourself with Amazon. Amazon's actually calling suppliers now. So if you put a Goodwill invoice, they're likely going to call Goodwill. Like they're doing this. So just know that if you put a bad phone number on there, you're screwed. Verifiable websites. If you put worldofbooks.com, make sure Bill's website's not down that day because they will go to the website, check, and make sure it's still up. So perception's reality. And remember, first we're dealing with AI. That's the first level. AI determines if you're legit or not. Then we're dealing with Indians. Then, if you get lucky, you're dealing with an American. And so there's levels to who you're dealing with. And remember, once it makes it to that real human being, the more well laid out it looks, the less paradoxes you have, the easier it is to say yes, the better off you are. Here's more things working. Getting ungated and regates. We got gated in a brand this year. It would have lost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. After 20 plus submissions with correct formatting and professional formatting, the nice photos, adding everything to a PDF, laying everything out, one document, easy for them to scroll through. Everything's included in the PDF, including photos, including context. This is where the supplier is located. This is why they're legit. If it's in X industry, you can put credentials down. And so with books right now, Goodwill invoices are working. And then also make sure you're turning on Amazon Seller Assurance. You can't get this until you reach a 250 account score. But what they'll do is they'll call you before your account gets shut down. And recently I heard the other day that they're actually, I don't know the exact name of the program, but they're allowing us to open cases. They're allowing some accounts to open cases. It's like a 3-strike policy. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? The exact name of it? David from Dam Law Firm was talking about. Anybody? No, it's brand new. So like they're trying to help sellers out. They realize what they're doing. So Amazon wants you to win. I believe it, even though all this stuff's happening. But they got FTC cases. They got other legal battles. They've sold tons of counterfeit books on Amazon. Indian sellers are still popping up. Me and Karan were talking about this. There's literally Indian sellers on restricted textbooks popping up left and right, you know? And so Amazon's doing their best to get rid of the bad actors, but in the process, we're getting fucked too. And right now they have favoritism towards brands, which are the publishers, but they still love resellers. We just have to know how to make our appeals good. So the biggest culprit for booksellers in the last 10 years has been the big bad law firm we all know about. And after going through the case with them, and now I do wholesale and private label, I'm seeing the same things over and over again. So I'm going to give this example because we probably all know it. The law firm that does the counterfeit claim. And this is like traditionally the way out of it. Counterfeit claim, you pay them X amount of money. So you're literally paying the brand a fee. They then don't retract the complaint, which sounds bad, but then they on the back end, they tell Amazon you're good, which is pretty crazy that they're allowed to get away with this. And then you pass the appeal. So for me, I agreed to pay them $20K, right? That was my mistake. So the next level, there was another seller who I heard about like a year or two later. This guy went through the same exact position I'm in. Alex Hormozy says, there's somebody who's had it worse and done it better. Somebody was in the same exact position as me, much bigger, much wealthier, and they instead negotiated 10 to 20x down and got ungated in the brand for life. Same exact position. I just didn't know what to do. You know, and that's why it's so important to come to these conferences. It's so important to learn these things because I could have gotten approved to sell the textbooks via EPEG certification. And if you guys want to talk more about this, we can later. And then I could have passed the appeal. I could have not paid 20 grand. I probably could have paid 3 grand and I would have made it. And the way I look at this is it's politics. It's one brand trying to vet all this, get all the sellers off their listing so they make more money. That's all they're doing. It's just a business. And so stop thinking of this as like the perfect life that Steve Rakin sold you on TikTok. It's not going to be a perfect life of selling on Amazon and nothing bad's ever going to happen. And me too. I'm always on TikTok telling you guys to sell on Amazon. But don't think like Amazon's going to protect you, except that it's part of the game that people are going to attack you. Brands are going to attack you. Other people, other customers, other sellers are going to attack you. And so just realize like we live in a battlefield. All right. General Romer up here. So my story, my lesson is I agreed to pay 20K, got screwed. Somebody else paid 5K, got ungated in textbooks, and now is running a multi-million-dollar business. So if I wouldn't have done that, my business that I had on autopilot would still be alive today. So I played the game wrong. I'm not upset with the way my life went, but I look at this and take this as a big lesson for when I do Amazon now in any business. Like, oh, there's politics to it. There's levels to it. And there probably is a path forward if you know what to do. So talk to enough people. And this battle repeats itself 1,000 ways on and off Amazon. My friend does construction, and I was talking to him the other day. And he's like, man, I just like, my business is so risky. Like, I don't know if someone's going to sue me if I screw something up, blah, blah, blah. Like, I wish I had Amazon like you, a low-risk business, something I could make a lot of. And I'm like, man. And but then I started thinking to myself that this is a recurring battle that happens off Amazon. So no matter what business you grow, at scale, you need lawyers. At scale, like when you get big enough, people are going to come after you. Talk to any big business. So just accept it's part of the battle. Many people throw in the towel, but I tell myself and encourage the community, accept it's part of the game and play it well. Have connections with the community, crowdsource what works, and don't screw up your account forever. All right, so who here would like an insider connect? Say aye. Aye. Somebody that can help you if you ever get in Amazon trouble. So you guys can email me, Books and Beyond. This is my email up here, Romer Martin LLC, and I'm going to introduce you to my account investigator. And she saved my ass so many times, and it's just made it so much easier. And I call her, ask her like, hey, should I do this or that? She's helped. At one point in time, she was helping 40 booksellers a month pass Section 3s back in 2023. So she's very seasoned. Reach out to me, Books and Beyond, and I'll also get you a discount on the services. So if you guys want to take a picture of that or write that down, go for it. hustle hard on the networking side of things. This is my big belief. This is why we're doing this event. And by hustling so hard on networking, I landed that account specialist, somebody who can help me in these situations. I landed wholesale deals. I landed multiple accounts. I landed partnerships. Literally everything in my business is from networking. Like I could go on and on and on.